welcome to another episode of the Real Football Talk. As always, I have Adi with me. Adi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Really good. Uh, some decent weather.
Today was lovely, wasn't it?
Cup final weekend on the grassroots scene.
Yeah, two finals we've watched. Two finals. One went what? One went our way, and then the other didn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, it's good. It's good. It's good. Well done to Zunes Hassan and Sananas. Well done on winning the trophy. And commiseration to Mez and Luton Streets. But hopefully they'll win the league title in the on Saturday coming up.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, just enjoyed going back out there, watching the games.
Gives you the
Been a
itch.
while. Been a while.
Gives you the itch. Gives you the itch. But it's good watch. It's good watch. So many finals happening on the same day, so it was really good. Really good setup and everything. So yeah, it was nice to see. Nice to see. But yeah, let's I'm all here. And also Luton played in the playoffs. First game done, 2-1 loss. Yeah, let's not go too much about it. But yeah, hopefully we'll do it. We'll do it in the second leg at home. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Don't go flat too soon
What's
after
that?
last
No, no,
week.
no, 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 no. There's still hope. There's still hope. There's still hope. Always hope. We just need one goal and then take it to penalties, maybe. Yeah. But let's get to the Premier League. We'll start with Arsenal. 3-0 loss at home. I mean, I thought Brighton thoroughly dominated the whole game. Chances wise, maybe in the first half it was even. But yeah, I mean, Brighton deserved the win. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, Brighton just had the edge today, and really surprising that Arsenal didn't have that intensity to match Brighton, and um, definitely, we've seen so many games of Arsenal this year, and we know a lot of the intensity is led by Arteta on the sideline, and the players always respond, and they've been the aggressors in most of the games they've played. But it was really strange to see how they struggled to step up to the physicality that Brighton brought, and I was really impressed with the change in attitude from the Brighton players, and you can see the loss to Everton had really stung them,
Hurt them, yeah.
and you can see, De Zerbi, he's one of those managers. He feels like he should be managed to a bigger team than Brighton. You can tell because he
Yeah.
always busts against like the bigger teams. He's always more animated, more
Yeah.
angry. There's a shot of him going
He
crazy.
almost done the Mourinho after they scored the second goal.
Yeah. So so you can tell he's more intense and more on edge. And they've beaten United at home recently, and I think he really wanted the players to gain that self-belief that they could go to one of the bigger clubs
Mm.
and beat them in their own patch. And, and today they did that, and they did it in the way most teams do it, which is physically bully the opposition with your intensity and mentality.
Mm.
And that was, epitomized most by the way Salcido dealt with Martinelli. And I
Mm.
just, wow, we're so used to this Arsenal team being so feisty, in your face, and they just didn't want to bring it today. And still a bit shocked by it because of what we've seen all season from this Arsenal team.
Yeah.
Them not to have that edge, it's kind of strange. It's hard to kind of figure out because
Let me tell you an interesting stat. Interesting stat. Since I think it was April, out of possible 21 points for this run in, Arsenal only managed to get 9 points. That tells you as much as you need to know, um, in terms of what's happened. So
yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I think but today's one is slightly different because the previous games I kept saying it's because they peaked and they're trying to outplayed the position and not playing the occasion and not having that tactical strategy and of how to see out a game, that experience. This one's totally different. It's like from the off, it's like they watched too many tapes of Brighton and decided we're going to respect them.
Yeah, yeah,
And it felt like that translated into the players' psyche, and they just didn't want to bring it. They had no intensity. And the biggest thing was the mentality. The biggest thing was you could see a difference in their mentality. Every Brighton player, it meant something to them. That match meant more
yeah.
to
Amen.
Brighton than it did to Arsenal players. How can that be? Arsenal going for the title.
Mm.
They've just seen City beat Everton
Yeah,
away. Everyone was thinking that could be a tricky fixture, and you have to
exactly.
respond. You have to
Yeah.
respond. Like I think I don't know. You tell me. Do you think the the City result affected the mentality and the
Personally, no. Personally, I
or
don't
do
think
you
it did.
think
I
just couldn't put my finger on what is it?
no.
Why did it
Do
suddenly
you know?
go
Do you know what?
down to dropping back and
I
respect?
don't think it was. I don't think it was even the City results. I think it was. It was a. It's the way we set up personally because, and I think the players were slightly confused because some of the times they were trying to go for the press, and then the other time it was almost like half-hearted, a bit in between. So, it to me it felt like maybe I don't know because the way Brighton were beating the press, I think the players got confused whether they should go for it or not. Because every time they beat the press, they hit that long ball past White. Arsenal had issued, and I think
Yeah,
that mixture of that with the way Brighton played, I think that played his part.
yeah, and I think definitely was surprised at how much they dropped off because we've seen Arsenal
Yeah.
press, and yeah, they did it when they forced Brighton back. Then they continued the press,
Mm.
but when the goalkeeper had the ball from goal kick, they weren't pressing.
Mm.
They
No, no. So
kind of
that especially changed after. Do you remember when Martinelli went off? So
yeah.
after Martinelli went off, Odegaard went off to Arteta, and they were talking about something. Since that moment, I didn't see that press as much, well, if at all. Um,
Yeah, it kind of came
it
back in the
seems
last
like
5 minutes of the first
yeah,
half.
it seems like tactically they've just dropped off, um, which I thought personally was wrong because when we were pressing, there was chances and hesitation from as much as they got through, they will get through because they're good football inside. But it did create opportunities and mayhem in that.
Well, Arsenal's best chances all came through winning the ball, or more from Brighton's poor passing rather
Exactly.
than Arsenal's good play. So, you know, uh, definitely agree with you on that. But I think it's a strange performance, especially that second half. I mean, the last 5 minutes of that first half, they looked like
I thought they
the
were back. They were back on it because
yeah, they looked like they figured it out. They figured the right balance between the pressing and it's just strange how that second half, that mixed message. Yeah, they definitely came at pressing second half,
yeah.
and they definitely were second best. And like I said, I do think that probably you're right affected their confidence because the way when Brighton pressed Arsenal, Arsenal were really struggling to get it out.
Get out. Yeah.
The build up, get Odegaard into the air, really struggling. But the moment Brighton were playing, they were cutting Arsenal back open.
Mm.
And the thing is, they're not doing it in that way where they're rushing to get the ball into midfield. They're doing it in that arrogant way where we're gonna take a few risks. We're gonna play it back. We could turn out, but you know what? We're gonna go back and do another cycle of making you chase us first, and
Mm.
then we're gonna really go.
But
So, so it was the composure and the manner in which they did it that I think
But you know,
really,
do you
really
know what was also frustrating? It was the fact that again Arteta took off Odegaard when he was the only one that was able to get the play through in between line for us, and he put on I think Emil Smith Rowe. And I was just a bit surprised. You haven't played him as a all season or anything or bits and bob, but then it's 1-0. It's not like the game's done. You're going full throttle in for it because you took Jorginho off, you took Xhaka off, put on Partey on himself, who's been poor, and then you put on someone who can't, really play that position. I'm just like, it's just strange what he's doing because
And
now all of a sudden you've lost the only guy who was picking up the passes. So
and is it fair to say the man of all three goals? I mean, for the Premiership, this some of the softest goals, but
the
it kind
first
of highlighted for
the first
me,
one, no, the first one was fortunate. Because
and that's not fortunate.
it
That's
goes over.
someone, what defender flipping stays on the ground when the bloody football boots comes on. Oh,
No,
there's
the guy started him on his leg.
it just
Evan Ferguson,
the heel,
and his
yeah,
whole
just
thing
caught
off.
the heel and took his shoe off. That was it, man.
Yeah,
It
but
wasn't a big injury. My point is, this is like that's where the difference is. That edge wasn't there,
mm,
that experience ain't there. I mean, how many players their shoes come off and they're still standing trying to make the opposition's about to score a goal.
mm, mm.
You choose to stay on the ground. Come on, it's like when a keeper does a save and they decide to marvel at the first save and go for the second. Come on, you'd get ridiculed for that. At least make the attempt. At least show that you recognize the severity of the
Or
situation.
maybe he was trying to win a foul. Maybe that's why he stayed
Yeah,
down.
but that's the point. But that's the difference, isn't it?
Mm.
That's the difference. If if that's Diaz, if that's Laporte, any of these guys, one, they're they're splatting themselves on the floor and they're making sure the whole world knows that's a foul and they're getting
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But look,
Or they're getting up and they're clearing that.
I can't be too harsh to
Um,
the guy because you know what? It's his first season in the Premier League. He's just come in to cover us. So like,
but that's not the point. Doesn't matter who it is. That's where the difference is. That's why Arsenal haven't seen this advantage that they had
mm.
out because ultimately they lack killer instinct players. They lack guys that have that winning edge.
But I
You
did
know,
right.
you look at
How many times
the
have I
reaction.
mentioned to you this? Even last season, even before all of these things happened, I've said it. All the people, everyone are saying, "Oh yeah, the thing is in even in February. Oh yeah, Arsenal this, Arsenal that." I'm like, wait until April. Even you were trying to pressure this, but I told you, wait until April and you'd see.
Yeah, so looking at the reaction, my thing is just the reaction of the players.
Mm,
Like that the ball is headed away. There's enough time to react to the whole scenario for any number of players.
mm,
Even if you look at the second goal, when that ball bubbles in, the problem is the players ran back towards the goal. Both players after Undav had got to the ball.
yeah, yeah,
There was so much time to put more pressure on that to maybe make Ramsey make a different decision of going back towards his line because the defender's coming to meet the pressure the guy. Just such a contrast to everything Brighton were doing. There's one point where in the first half, where Arsenal in a good position right towards the end of the half, of the one where Saka, literally the last kick where Saka
yeah.
just misses the post, and a cross comes in
Yeah,
and
dunk.
don't blocks
But
it. The way
look,
he's
but
run
that's
out,
fine. That's fine.
the reactions.
But in that scenario, you also got to realize the distance because they both the defenders also spread it out a lot. So you got to realize that there's a far distance.
You're not getting the
And
point, Hassan. We're
in
not
this,
talking about.
no,
I'm not talking about distance.
but
I'm talking about reaction. I'm not saying
what is there to
they should have
be?
stopped the goal. It's the reaction. It's the mentality. The point isn't whether they could have done anything or whether they done
Yeah, I
anything
think
wrong.
nah,
The point is you're going for a title and you've given up. The point is you've given up.
mm,
How many times can a team outplay you? But if you have winning mentality, if you still believe you go on and win that game. All the teams that win titles do it. They play bad and they win. I can't remember many times this season we can say that about Arsenal. They've always played good and won.
no,
Have they
we played
showed that
badly in one. Aston Villa, as an example.
maybe won? Fine.
Against Bournemouth, we won another one.
So there's not many. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But
but
they don't have
it's
that
not
edge.
when they win, it's not gonna be 5, 6, 7. It's gonna be 2, 3 games where they play badly and they go and win. So which they've done. So yeah, I think that's a bit
I
unfair to
don't know
say. I think that's a bit
how
unfair to say.
thinking, like, I just feel like they don't have that mentality, and all three
No,
goals.
that I agree, but I've told you
Flashes
this
that
before.
those goals.
I've told you this before that we don't have the
And
characters yet.
one player we praised all season. Tell me, what did he do on the pitch the whole game? Guess what was the first time I noticed him
Who?
when he got subbed off? Is actually the first time I noticed him in the game. Gabriel Jesus. Tell me, what was he doing on the pitch? Name me one significant thing he did on the pitch until he got subbed off. You can't, can you? It
Ah,
was he did not win one tackle. He did not do nothing in this game.
he did,
I can't remember him linking
not
up.
fully that much, but as in yeah, he did have a few moments, but not to the level that probably we potentially
Like,
expect. No,
not even to the level of a Southampton player did he
no,
perform
no,
to.
no. Forget
That was
about
a
it.
joke.
Okay, I think
That,
you're just trying to like gun Arsenal today. Yeah, that's what it is.
now, I'm not gonna be honest. So what? You're gonna tell me Gabriel Hayes' performance today isn't something to question?
What did I say? What did I say? I said yeah, it's not to the level he was doing, but what did I say? I said the
It's
way
not
you're
even to,
saying he
I'm not
wasn't.
saying it's not even to an average level, Rob. That was like a non-existent performance. That's nothing. We're talking about he's meant to be the guy with the winning mentality, the guy who we've praised all season, brings the physicality, always turns up, never hides, always shows for the ball. He didn't even press that well today.
I,
He
I,
didn't.
I mean, we
He
didn't we
didn't put
didn't press
anyone.
well as a team, so
He didn't put anyone on the tag. It's like Dunk had him in his pocket, and it's like, what the heck? You're meant to be the world class guy in this team. You're meant to be the leader. You're meant to be the guy who knows how to win. Maybe he's missing Zinchenko.
lol, forget about it. Don't even think about it. Allow it. Allow it. There's too many people that said that to me, and I was like, bro, he'll be too busy crying rather than freaking doing anything. So yeah, okay, cool. But I mean, if you look at in contrast to Man City and their players and their character and someone that epitomizes it is Gundogan, because whether someone else is scoring or not, he comes out with the magic moments every single time. And again, today that first goal, oof, that touch
That's
and that finish.
beautiful, ain't
It's,
it?
it's all
Sheer
here. It's
uh,
here. It's nothing else. It's here. It's here. Like
the intelligence to know that I need to lift that ball out and not cushion it down.
yeah,
Because just imagine, and this is the thing, you can't underestimate how intelligent it is. And just to break it down, the difference of if he knees that ball down,
yeah.
then he has to swivel, he has to turn, he maybe has to take another touch while someone is
Essentially,
pulling in. So to turn the other way while you got the defender pulling you, and to
yeah.
swivel and turn and hit that shot. It's like you could see as the ball was coming in, the intelligence of, oh no, bringing it down ain't gonna, and he just changes it to lift it
Lifts
and
it
hook
slightly. Okay.
it. Oh my word!
Yeah.
I
Listen,
mean, that goal
levels.
aesthetically, it might not be up there for goal of the seasons, but for intelligence and just sheer like how to make a goal that and a situation that could have
Invention,
potentially
innit? You can inventive. You can almost call it inventive, right? Because obviously
yes,
that's
genius.
something you just it's not something that you plan. You rather depending on the board because of it,
But you
you
can't coach
prepare.
that. You
Exactly.
can't coach that.
Exactly.
Only superb technicians will understand
Yeah. Yeah.
the art of what
He
he
is
did.
though. He is one though. He is.
Uh,
Um,
Yeah, and to underline it, he proved that free kick and the cross for the second goal, and you just think he stamped his authority in this run-in for sure.
100%.
And, and and you have to give Pep credit for this because look, he is saving De Bruyne for every European game.
mm,
But right now, Gundogan is getting much more minutes than De Bruyne. And De Bruyne and Alvarez are showing us
yeah.
them
Yeah.
legit 50-50 in this running. So that tells you Pep is valuing the input and is saying Gundogan is a more important player and more significant player in this running.
Then KDB, yeah.
Very nice. Now, if we were to say that, everyone say, "What a controversial statement," but it's the truth. The facts and the lineups prove it.
But Adi, if you also look at it, if you look at it, I think from like January post World Cup, basically, since Gundogan's come in, that team has taken like another step, another level up. Because whether you admit or not, before the World Cup, they weren't fully there. They didn't feel a connection or joint. But since Gundogan's come in, he's completely transformed that.
Yeah, I'm not. Again, I don't know how much of that is because of Gundogan or that's the way Pep designed it by getting everyone peaking at that time. But
No,
he
but he plays a
clearly,
massive part to it
yeah.
because of the
But
boxing,
obviously,
because of Gundogan, they can do that because of how intelligent he is. Because no matter how much you press him, how much you hurry him, he always find time and space in that middle.
and even in the post match, his intelligence when he's saying how he recognizes, and it's a lot more easier for him to get into those type of spots because Haaland is always taking both central defenders away.
Anyway, yeah.
That allows him to go in advance of Haaland and pick up the spots left by centre back. It's just intelligence and hold up play, and the whole thing was just amazing. And
So
what we thought could have been a difficult game,
yeah,
absolutely.
brings into question: can they do treble?
I mean, we said it before. Of course they can. I mean, they've got the squad, they've got the players all peaking at the right time. Definitely now it's more achievable because they only need to win one game.
Yeah, the pressure in there in the Premier
And
League.
yeah, so the Premier League, the heat's gone. They could rotate heavily for next Sunday's game against Chelsea, put everything into the Real Madrid match,
Game, yeah.
and then they got 3 games to get one win.
Yeah, but even if they lose the Chelsea game, it's not even an issue. They'll still be 4 points ahead
Yeah, and they'll have their midweek game.
against,
And
yeah, Brighton. Yeah,
yeah, so again, I just think yeah, it's worked out perfectly
perfect.
for
Yeah.
Everton the way the league has ended up.
Mm.
And
Um,
yeah, another big performance really.
my next question is going to be is how much credit can does Pep Guardiola take? Because obviously a lot of the time, a lot of the people obviously criticize him because obviously he's been given a lot of money, etc., so on and so forth, and the tools, but how he manages to make them peak at the right time and everything that does and the consistency it deserves the praise, right?
For me, this one's one of his most impressive in my eyes because of the fact that they actually had a multitude of problems. They had a lot of players out injured. I think people forget Diaz practically missed the first
First
four or
half of
five
the
weeks
season.
of the season.
Yeah, first half of the season.
You know, and they've embedded a lot of players that didn't fit in last year or were new this year. Akanji, what a signing! He's been under the radar as one of the best signings of the season, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Like he's playing
Right back, left back, center back.
yeah, this side right back. He's playing everywhere, and he is putting top performances every single. And he's a big guy, and for him to be turning out those numbers just speaks a lot about his fitness levels.
Yeah,
And then you look at Ake, the way he stepped up, even the transition of turning Ake into a left back.
yeah.
You
Since
know, the way
Cancelo
the
going, yeah.
managed to finally integrate Grealish into the team, the Haaland, they weren't clicking at the start of the season. They weren't really that convincing. But you have to give credit to Pep for the way he just bought his time, waited for the right moment, and then suddenly it's the City of old where they're all pressing. And we talked about all season. They're not pressing like they used to. They don't have the intensity like they used to. They're giving a lot of chances away,
Yeah,
conceding a lot. And he always had this grand plan. that he was following to, that he knew, and he's waited for the everyone for the for everyone to hit their stride. And now look at them,
But
you
again,
know,
it matches
never
up with
did the
yeah,
one.
it matches up with what he said in one of the press conferences, right? Because he said coming into say March, April, it's all about just being within touching distance of the say the top spot, and then
Yeah,
it's for your turn to kick on. So it marries with everything
but
that you're saying.
thing is, you always kind of feel like giving more credit to a team when they come from behind and overtake someone. It always feels like they earned it a bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
And what can I say? I just feel like
But
they,
his teams continuously do it though. They've done it against Liverpool, all of these guys.
yeah, but like it feels like a lot of the Liverpool ones is like I don't know. I'm not sure, but if to me it felt like Liverpool were the ones chasing a lot of those times. It felt like Liverpool were always chasing
Okay,
City,
okay.
staying ahead.
Even though they're ahead, okay.
Yeah, even by 1 point, they stayed ahead the whole way through to get it. It's always advantage City. This one was clear cut advantage Arsenal,
Mm.
and they did haven't choked. They haven't choked, and they've had injury problems. They've had players out. They've changed things around. They've improved players. They've tried suddenly integrated Stones into a midfielder.
Yeah,
This for me is probably one of the best ones Pep has done.
yeah.
And
But I
he's
mean,
just now that, I just think the fact that he's now signing big name players and managing to manage them and integrate them better than
yeah,
he used to. So it's a scary prospect now because, you know, those rumors of them going for Cristiano Ronaldo and things like that. I was thinking, nah, that's not Pep. Now you can't rule it out. They will go for big players, and
yeah,
I don't think he has a problem managing them. He's become a lot more wiser and calmer, and he showed the patience this year
yeah,
when
yeah.
not doing things the way he's used to. He just waited, bided his time, and then when it came to the right time, he got them playing the way he wants eventually.
What I mean, obviously a lot of praises to Pep, but Haaland, I think was he 51 now, I think 51 or something goes. Can he 52, sorry. Can he get the Dixie Dean record, do you reckon?
I said it, I think last week. I think so. I think so. I mean, he today he scored with his first touch.
Yeah, yeah.
That was what in the
He
was
was.
it
You can, yeah, he was non-existent pretty much.
41st minute. It was like his first touch, and then he got five more after that. His first touch was like in the 40th, practically 40th minute of the game. Was the goal? The header. It's crazy. Only six touches in the whole first half, all of which came in the last 5 minutes of the half.
Yeah. But do you know another thing to point out is something that we mentioned at the beginning of the season is about those killing off games. And again, so first goal, obviously Gundogan gets it, and then boom, straight away, Haaland gets the second. It's finished. And that's happened not just once, it's happened throughout the season a lot. Where it's like first one and then boom, straight away second and game killed off. Done.
And even like for that second goal, when you see the way Gundogan reads
Yeah.
where that ball is going, he's just miles ahead of everyone. He's completely gone to that left wing because he's judged that clearly Foden ain't gonna win that ball over the top.
Yeah.
No one else is like anywhere near him. That's how sharp he is to and switched on he is. And it's only because of that intelligence that he's able and quality cross at the end of it. But just that intelligence is what made that whole move so simple. There's
Mm.
no one around him now. It's just unbelievable, yeah. So I think yeah,
And
it's a bit of
they
an anticlimax for the last few weeks.
can potentially win the title next week
Yeah, against Chelsea at home.
against Chelsea.
At home, yeah. So that's it.
Mm. Wait, in terms of obviously top four, Newcastle drew 2-2 against Sam Allardyce's Leeds. I mean, what was your take on it? I think they went ahead through a penalty. Leeds got back into it, and then again got ahead, and then Newcastle got another penalty.
Well, I think I thought Newcastle were fortunate. The first 20 minutes, Leeds were all over them.
Mm.
Uh, Bamford missing the penalty shifted the dynamic of the game, but it literally just quieted down the crowd and everything. Is so, I mean, the crowd was, really up for it, and and then that negativity just kind of kicked in a bit,
Yeah.
and that's what allowed Newcastle to get a bit more, compete a bit better. I wouldn't even say they played that much better. They weren't that good, but it became an even, stalemate with not much happening. And obviously the individual errors at the back, which are shocking the whole
Yeah.
season.
Crazy thing is obviously Bamford's penalty miss and like Newcastle getting a penalty is literally like a couple of minutes
Yeah.
apart from each other. So
You see the change in the atmosphere in the stadium straight away. And yeah, that definitely gave Newcastle a lift. They needed something. They're struggling up until that point. They didn't hadn't really shown anything. So yeah, I thought Newcastle were, the second best in that game, but can't say Leeds had enough quality to really win the game.
yeah. But then, I
But
mean,
you look at it, Leeds scored 2 goals, and Newcastle got 2 penalties from some really stupid defending.
but my question was going to be, have Newcastle got enough considering they got 3 games left on 66 points, joined with Man United, with Liverpool breathing down their neck.
Um, I think they might just about have enough, but like I said it last week, out of the two teams who I think is in jeopardy of losing the top four place, I said more Newcastle than United.
Mm,
When everyone was worried about United, I said it then. I
mm.
think because just it seems like they got slightly more difficult games.
Yeah, well, I mean, they got Brighton next, who are, I mean, in the mix around for the Europa League places, you can say. And then they got Leicester at home, and then Chelsea away. So Chelsea, you know what? Chelsea are in there to like kind of relegation battle, top four battle. They're in everything without really being involved. They can
Well,
decide stuff. They can decide stuff. I do.
yeah, well, I think they're involved, and let's just leave it at that. Deciding is pushing it. I don't think they're gonna decide anything. Damn, I got that, which I mean, they just got, they were holding on against Nottingham Forest at home, man.
we'll
Forget
get we'll get that. I just made the comment,
they
but
ain't gonna decide anything. All they're going to do is turn up for those last 3 games.
holiday mode, holiday. But I mean, good win for United because they go level on points with Newcastle. Newcastle now on 66. And even with the fixtures they got left, you would think they'd pretty much win the last three, anyways.
All I know is I think it's the keeper's name Bentley.
Bentley,
Oh,
yeah.
he played like a classy Bentley man. That was something else. That keeper pulled off some saves
Mm-hmm.
in that match, and yeah, Man United really need to start putting these chances. Some of them were really good chances. You expect, they should be finishing those, but yeah, it's surprisingly a very dominant victory. Wolves really, they tried a bit in the second half and then had a little moment in the first, but they just seem like a team that's confused in their identity and what they want to do. And yeah, once the subs came on, it just got even more confusing because just putting on attackers and couldn't understand why. And the strangest thing was they took Diego Costa off when he was probably the most effective front man out of all of them. So I was definitely happy when they took Diego Costa off because he was being a nuisance the whole game.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well, I mean,
very
United need 5 points only because I mean, if we look at it, the most amount of points that Liverpool could potentially get is 71. United already on 66. Same with the Newcastle. They're both from the last three. They need 5 points.
like
Um,
I said, I just think look, let's see if Liverpool win out first. because away from home, they're a bit inconsistent. So let's see, if they do win out. And I wasn't worried about United because their home form is just that strong.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said last week, three of the last four at home, I wasn't worried. I think Newcastle are the ones looking over their shoulder rather than United. And
Is
we'll
is
see.
there is there any opportunities for Brighton? Even I mean after the today's win.
No, I don't think so because every one of their games, it seems like really difficult games. They're the ones who are who's in the mix for everything, affecting everything,
True, true, true.
and they could genuinely actually make a difference. Unlike,
All right. Wrong one, wrong one. I called the wrong one. All right.
so I think, no, I think Brighton. I mean, can they consistently do what they did today? I don't know. I don't think so.
Hmm.
Today they played with an edge and intensity, and I think Arsenal also
Help them in the way.
kind of choked when they saw, wow, this is a team actually outplaying us on the pitch. Kind of killed their confidence a bit.
Hmm.
So yeah, let's see if Brighton can match it because other teams will be able to handle that physicality they played with today probably better. So I'm not sure.
Hmm. Um, Interestingly, if you look at in around them, because obviously they're on 58, they got Tottenham Hotspur on 57, and then Aston Villa joined with Tottenham on 57 as well, who beat Tottenham this week, 2-1. I
Yeah.
mean, who can get
If
that
it
second?
was for that penalty,
Yeah.
they've moved ahead of Tottenham in the league table.
Yes, you're not
That one,
they would have
yeah,
been on joint goal difference.
but head to head, Aston Villa got a head-to-head record.
Yeah.
So that one Hurricane goal is the reason why Spurs.
Aston Villa below, yeah.
Yeah. So
But
yeah, I mean,
another impressive performance from Aston Villa and Unai Emery.
yeah, I mean, I was really looking forward to watching that game, just to see one how Aston Villa bounced back from a couple of losses away from home, and then also just to confirm my impressions of Tottenham and Ryan Mason and because I was just I'll come to the second bit later, my rant in a bit.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It was really comfortable the game for and I could not believe how easy it was to play against Tottenham.
But I mean,
Uh,
Aston Villa had
I mean
some
the
good
build up. I
chances as
mean
well. I
no,
think
but
Aston Villa could have annihilated them.
it could have been added. But you rarely see a game where you only need two passes and you literally got a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
There was, as when it comes to passive, you couldn't get a more passive team than Tottenham. I mean, I'm sure the XG must have been crazy for Aston Villa. Like it was just unbelievable
Mm.
how literally all it took was three, four passes, and they were literally in a goal. And I couldn't understand what Tottenham's philosophy was because you got Harry Kane ever coming behind the halfway line, but literally letting every pass just go to him.
Yeah.
Not picking up anyone. They all looked lost. It was such a strange performance, lacking in any. Yeah, they gave a bit more energy in the second half, but
Do you think that do you think the players have do you think the players have given up on the season, Adil?
I just think I just think they haven't got a strategy for how they want to play. That they haven't got a strategy from the way they want to play. I think off the ball and away from home, and it's different when you're at home and teams give you that possession because you're the home team and the onus is on you. I think they're comfortable when they're allowed to attack. But as soon as a team is ball dominant, aggressive, they seem like they haven't got the players or the strategy or
Mm.
know-how of what they're trying to do. And this is the thing, it was the know-how that worried me. they all were dropping back. Okay, so I understand you're not going to do a high press, but then they were all in different positions every time they drop back. It's like they weren't playing to a system or a formation or a zone. It was just tracking the ball around. Whoever's the closest to the ball will suddenly put a bit of pressure, and they were lost. And it was really strange to see. And they were just preoccupied with trying to hack out the middle, but then even then, the passes were going straight through. Every
But then what is Ryan Mason doing? Because I mean, he's the one that they all wanted in and wanted Conte out. So
well, that's the thing that I saw his press conference
just
where where he was getting praise, and obviously they gave the big news that Nagelsmann isn't in with the shout, and that Ryan Mason is being considered for the role. And you know I think the journalist asked him, what have you changed and what have you done? And he was really smug, and he's really going on about, yeah, he's brought back identity and he's changed a few things and he's got that agreement. And I'm thinking,
what?
when those type of questions get asked to De Zerbi, to Ten Hag, to Pep, to Klopp, they will come out with real, coaching, real identity.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've worked on the press. You'll hear the coaching and the identity and the philosophy. You're gonna hear it. When you ask half these young British managers, all you'll hear, and the thing is, the reason why they get liked so much, and the reason why they get all the British media loves it, is because they give them as much time as they want to speak to them. But what do they actually come out with? They come out with hardly anything significant. It's like, you look at Ryan Macy, you look at Lampard, all of them. It's just making friends with the journalists.
Yeah.
They can't answer the questions in a technical way. You can't understand what they're really doing. Other than, you can tell they don't actually know what they're doing. And
So
I think
I mean,
the
why are they?
easiest thing to coach is play forward. How are you going to play for? How are you going to create chances? How are you going to create space? How are you going to manipulate space? How are you going to win the ball back? It's so easy just to say when you get the ball, play forward. It's so easy to say when you lose the ball, press. But the teams that do it well do it to a system, do it with an identity, a way, a know-how, and you can tell they don't have it. So how do you be so smug, like you're some top-notch manager? That's oh, you're changing and fixing things that Conte couldn't fix. It's like that's the impression I got from that, from his, which I'm sure it wasn't really what he's saying, but it's like, what have you done to achieve anything? You won two home, drew one and won home game, of which the one home game you won, you got
Wasn't
totally outplayed,
yeah, yeah,
totally outplayed. If it wasn't Harry Kane's goal, they didn't deserve to win.
yeah. But
You know, so,
I mean, you briefly mentioned about obviously Nagelsmann not coming into Spurs. How much of a big miss is that? Because I mean, I think that's who they were rooting for, and obviously we've heard news from across London that their favorite Poch is going to Chelsea.
well, I think they decided they didn't want to go for Poch, so I don't think that's a big deal. If the fans wanted
I'm
Poch,
saying in terms of the fans wanting it.
I think obviously to me it's good news, and so it says, it tells you exactly what the project is at us at Spurs now. They've realized, trying to go for these winning mentality managers who are going to demand signings and certain players that bring a certain heat on the board when they don't get what they want, who will be outspoken and criticize, and you know that means the criticism will end up going to Levy, and he's realized that now after this experiment of Mourinho and Conte, that don't go down that line.
Yeah,
I guess that Nagelsmann's the same, Tuchel's the same. So they did. It shows one thing they've learned and they've realized who they are. That also shows they don't have the ambition to win anything anytime soon. They're gonna try and do the Pochettino model again. where I think they really want those up and coming young
Yeah,
managers
yeah,
who just accept the players that the board and the sporting director give, and they'll just work and coach them. That's why they keep going on about Arnold Slot. They really want Arnold Slot from Feyenoord,
yeah.
or they're looking at Xabi Alonso. But they're looking for
He's one of the favorites, isn't he? Xabi Alonso from Bayern
yes.
Munich.
I think they're looking for one of those young and up and coming managers like they found with Poch and trying to build that way. I think they're looking at Arteta and Arsenal and thinking that's the model we need to go down.
Mm, mm.
Necessarily a guy who already has the qualification and the credentials to win because we can't match even their ambition.
Yeah. But do you think that's good for them in the long term?
It's good for the harmony of the club that they pick a manager that actually suits their ambition.
Yeah.
But what does it say? I mean, if it feels like the Tottenham fans have raised expectations now, I don't think they're just going to be happy um, playing nice football and not winning anything. I think the fact that Arsenal has overtaken them in the space of 2 years and look like they got a manager who plays to win and plays for titles and well challenge for honours really does change the landscape for because it's different when you had Arsene Wenger and the trophy is a top four, towards the end of his tenure. But now I think it's a different pressure. It's the fact that you were ahead of Arsenal and the way Arsenal have come.
Yeah,
I think it just adds a different pressure with the fan base. And maybe before that point, they might have been happy with someone's going to build a club up, improve players, play nice football. I'm not sure if the fans will accept that. I think winning is still there. Clearly playing well is still a big part, but winning is definitely still.
yeah.
So
Uh,
I'm not sure how that will work out.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like there's a lot more teams you compete with now. It's risky doing that now.
True. True.
You got De Zerbi doing amazing. You got Emery at Aston Villa. You got Brentford consistently improving. You know,
But you know for a fact Aston Villa, the chairman is very wealthy. They will definitely spend and back Emery for the transfer window,
and,
right?
and this
Um,
look at this season alone
yeah.
with Conte, with Kane. Your challenge, it's a bit harsh on Conte to say because they were always kind of around the top four places when he was there.
Yeah.
But since then, they may not even make Europa League.
Yeah. Well,
They
Europa
make
Conference
the
League.
Conference League.
Yeah.
At this rate, momentum is with Aston Villa and Brighton. And when you look at it, they're playing damn sight better football. Like you look at the performances.
Mm.
Uh, Tottenham have got results only because of Harry Kane, and they played bad.
I mean, is it nailing the coffin for Harry Kane to leave?
I think for you can see a difference in what he said, the way he's speaking. You can see clearly he's in his mind he's leaving. I don't think there's any question of what his decision is. It's just gonna be
Daniel
what
Levy.
is Tottenham gonna do, and I think Tottenham will end up selling. And I think Tottenham will just long it out to try and get as much as they can, uh,
Interesting summer
or,
to watch.
or try to force him to move to a club outside of the Prem.
Interesting summer ahead. But yeah, talking about Poch, what do you make of the? I mean, first and foremost, obviously Nottingham Forest result against Chelsea, and then obviously the news coming through that Poch has come to an agreement to join Chelsea and take over.
Yeah, I mean, let's get the performance out of the way. I mean, that first half was a shocking first half. They were at home, get totally outplayed against a team that struggled away from home the whole season.
Yeah,
Sevilla deservedly took the lead, deservedly were ahead in the first half. Clearly, Lampard gave them a rocket because the next 15 minutes, Chelsea really came out, got the two goals. and then sat off again, and then it was all
No,
um no first, and it's hard to watch or to see how far the ambitions of Chelsea has gone.
mm,
That they're kind of struggling to hold on, even when it got to 2-2. You would expect Chelsea to step up.
and
They were
jump
still
ahead.
hanging on.
Mm.
It was Nottingham Forest that was showing the ambition to go and get a winner, not Chelsea.
Mm.
So yeah, that I think that says a lot about where Chelsea are, where they're heading. I think that the best thing they've done is announce that Poch will be taking over in the summer because hopefully that might get some focus into him. But they look like their team are going on their holidays, other than Sterling. But even then, you know, came on, done bits, but then wasn't there for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
Really
I just thought it's just 2 moments. He just turned it up and showed his old self of Sterling, and yeah,
it was more than that, but suppose you can't really expect one player to carry a team, especially when you're out on the wing. But yeah, they they're not, they done the right thing announcing it and hopefully making plans to build. But
so
it's, it's a tough rebuild.
yeah, interesting one to obviously come out. I think one of the board members or someone said that Todd Bowley and the board, they do regret the fact that maybe not seeing out the season with Tuchel. So, and they think they made a mistake. So,
100%. I mean, with Tuchel, they would have been in Europe.
100%.
Maybe not top four because they're already off the pace this season with that. And with Tuchel, they probably definitely would have, had a better chance of going further in the Champions League.
Yeah, yeah.
Who did they got knocked out by Milan?
No, no, no. They got the Milan got knocked out. Spurs. It was Real Madrid.
Okay, that's different than it. I think it's supposed Real Madrid would have been a tough fixture, but you would have given Chelsea a chance with Tuchel. So let's see. I mean, it's very much yeah, they've made so many mistakes. I mean, they just haven't respected the culture, the identity of the club. They just decided to completely rip up the whole everything that's been built. And no matter what, it was a successful club that was just continuing to improve. I mean, they were working the market amazing. I mean, the way they was selling players for high, getting good signings for good prices. Everyone was praising Marina, Granovskaya.
Granskova.
Yeah, and so it's they just completely ripped up everything, the whole identity that Peter Cech was creating. So they deserve everything they get in. They deserve to be struggling where they are because you don't go and buy a club and completely rip up everything when they've been successful. I could understand when they haven't been successful, but when they've been successful, that's totally the wrong, arrogant approach. You don't even know anything about football.
Yeah, yeah. It's not
You
like
know?
it's your background or anything.
Yeah.
But with regards to obviously Nottingham Forest, a good point away, you would say. Um,
Yeah, but I think they'll be disappointed in the
that's what I
sense
was gonna
that
say.
that first half was so comfortable. They looked like they could have got a second goal. But I suppose coming back from 2-1 down, getting a point will also feel like a well-earned point.
Mm, mm. Uh,
But
gives them. I mean, Southampton. Yeah, Southampton's obviously been confirmed relegated.
yeah,
Nottingham Forest on 34 points now. With Leicester having 3 games left, but Leicester's next game is against Liverpool. And the fixtures doesn't look any easier for Leicester. Leeds on 31, so there is a 3 point and 4 point gap. So 2 games left. Can they hang on? I would say one more win guarantees it. That's
you
it.
see, this is the thing is it it all depends on their game against Arsenal
Mm,
because they're a team that performs at home, and I have a feeling Arteta will have Arsenal really, revved up. You could see at the end of the game the way Arteta spoke today.
Mm.
He was really angry. He's really disappointed with the performance. So I don't know if that's going to play into Nottingham Forest hand or not. But if Nottingham Forest can get something out of that game, um, that would help. I think because I feel like they definitely need one more point, possibly one more win.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I was gonna say. If they get one more win, I think it's pretty much set. Um,
yeah, I mean, the worry is Leeds United for me.
mm.
Uh, they did okay against City. They done really well against Newcastle. Were unlucky to win, and Allardyce has got them playing, and he's got them united, and he's got them, really revved up. So I think I can see Leeds getting points, getting results. So I don't know who
Leeds,
they.
Leeds, Leeds got West Ham away and then Spurs at home.
Yeah, so I think both are winnable games. So
And then for
is
Leicester,
that
it's got Liverpool and then Liverpool, Newcastle away, and then finishing off with West Ham.
so I
So I
think
think,
I think I think Leeds is the problem. No, I don't think I think
I
Leicester's
think
like Leicester.
Leicester's done.
I think
I
they're gone
think
now.
I think they're gone.
You
Yeah,
can't if you can't beat your rivals at home and
yeah.
then you lose to them away, then you don't deserve to be in the Premiership at this time of the season. So you can't have the results they're having recently and get away with it at such a crucial time. So I think Leicester's gone, and I think it's Leeds is the one, and I can't see them getting 6 points, which means the goal difference would then be the difference.
But Everton are on 32, so
Yeah, but I don't I think Everton will continue to be picking up points. So I don't know. Like I said, I think Leeds is the one I worry about.
yeah, yeah. Well, Everton only got what? Wolves and Bournemouth left, so they're
Yeah,
both at the
Wolves,
bottom. So they
Wolves and Bournemouth both look like they switched off, and Everton are performing decent enough. So like I said, for I think Leeds is the one Nottingham Forest have to worry about.
all
They
right.
they
But
would get points.
what's your prediction? Who's going down?
Um, Definitely Leicester, and
Let's start them.
I'm hoping Everton.
Yeah, I think they're all Everton, right? But I think it's going to be Leeds that goes down.
That's the one. That's the thing is I'm not sure. Looking at the performance, I'm just going by form and performances. They look the most solid out of those teams right now.
I don't know. I just think Dicey's
Only thing that counts against Leeds um, is whether they can get Rodrigo scoring the goals.
yeah.
And he did look sharp even against
But
Newcastle.
but especially for Everton, that win against Brighton was just crucial because it's got gave them that breather and belief now.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I'm still worried about Nottingham Forest. Not gonna lie.
No, they got this. They got this.
Nah, I think Crystal Palace away is tough. Arsenal after this result is become a lot harder.
Forget about it. Forget about it. On that note, Adil, thank you very much for today. For those of you watching, thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.